Doctor, my heart is beating fast, and I have a stomach ache, and I haven't slept for a week. Just because I ate a few walnuts every day.
Hello, everyone. Many people think that eating a lot of walnuts is good for them, but in fact, eating them the wrong way can make your body more tired. Don't let the superfood become a burden to your health. Stay with me to understand the right way to use it, and don't forget to follow for more tips on taking care of your 70-plus age. You might think eating more walnuts only brings benefits, but the truth isn't that simple. Though rich in omega-3 seconds, protein, and antioxidants, their effects depend on timing and how they're consumed. According to Harvard, just 1 ounce a day supports heart health, yet if used incorrectly, walnuts can trigger allergies and even harm your liver and heart. As we pass the age of 70, our bodies change in ways we often don't notice. Digestion slows down, the liver processes fats differently, and multiple medications can disrupt nutritional balance. Even healthy foods can backfire if used the wrong way. But don't worry, understanding how your body works is the first step toward eating smarter and living healthier. In the previous video, we talked about the first mistake, eating too many walnuts at once, and how it can harm your digestion, heart, and weight after age 60. But if you think simply eating less is enough, unfortunately, that's not the whole story. Because there's another mistake, more dangerous and much more subtle, that almost every older adult makes without realizing it. Eating walnuts at the wrong time, especially too close to when you take medication. It may sound harmless, but this simple habit can quietly reduce the effectiveness of your treatment and cause your blood drug levels to fluctuate unpredictably. Imagine you're an older adult taking medication for heart disease, blood pressure, or cholesterol. Every morning, you take your pills faithfully. Then, as part of your healthy routine, you grab a few walnuts after all. They're good fats, right? But what you don't realize is that at that very moment, your body is facing a small internal conflict between the medication and your food. According to a report from Mayo Clinic, walnuts, though highly nutritious, are rich in fats and soluble fiber, both of which can slow down drug absorption by up to 2 hours. This means that the medicine you just took may not be fully absorbed in your intestines, leading to unstable drug concentrations in your bloodstream. One of my patients, Mr. Trong, 68, from Dalat, experienced exactly this. He had the habit of taking his heart medication in the morning and then eating a handful of roasted walnuts. I thought the nuts would help my heart, but instead my heartbeat became irregular. He told me during a follow-up visit. After running some tests, we found that his beta blocker levels were much lower than expected, even though he hadn't missed a single dose. The culprit wasn't the medication. It was the fat content in the walnuts delaying absorption. Once he changed his eating schedule, keeping a 2-hour gap after medication, his heart rhythm and blood pressure returned to normal within weeks. And this problem isn't limited to heart medication. Many other drugs, such as thyroid medication, blood pressure pills, and cholesterol-lowering drugs, can be affected in the same way. When walnut fats delay absorption, the body may think the dose is too low, prompting doctors to increase it unnecessarily, or patients may feel dizzy, fatigued, or develop heart palpitations. Even worse, this silent interaction, repeated day after day, can gradually destabilize treatment outcomes without the patient ever realizing it. I once treated a 72-year-old woman named Hong, who was taking levothyroxine for thyroid issues. She was very disciplined, always had a healthy breakfast of oatmeal, yogurt, and a few walnuts. Yet after several months, her thyroid levels went out of balance, forcing her doctor to double her medication dose. When I asked about her routine, I discovered she ate walnuts just 10 minutes after taking her pill. According to Mayo Clinic, high-fat foods like walnuts can reduce thyroid medication absorption by up to 40% if eaten too soon. Once she switched her walnut snack to the mid-afternoon, her hormone levels stabilized again without any change in medication. The issue is that the aging body isn't as flexible in digestion and metabolism as it once was. When the stomach is already full of fats, medications can't be absorbed evenly, reducing their effectiveness. Over time, this doesn't just weaken treatment results, it can also strain the liver or destabilize blood pressure, especially for those on long-term prescriptions. So, the timing of eating walnuts is not a trivial matter. The safest and most effective approach is to wait at least 2 hours after taking medication. The ideal window is between 2 and 3 p.m., when your lunch has digested, your medication has taken effect, and your body could use a gentle energy boost. You can pair walnuts with a few slices of apple or half a cup of Greek yogurt to support better digestion and omega-3 absorption. One more important reminder: avoid eating walnuts right before bed. Many people make this mistake, believing the nuts will help them sleep better. In reality, the high-fat content slows nighttime digestion, which can lead to bloating, heartburn, or acid reflux. For older adults with sensitive stomachs, even one late-night snack can cause discomfort or disrupt sleep for hours. People often ask me, so should I stop eating walnuts altogether? My answer is no. Walnuts remain one of nature's greatest gifts if you learn to respect your body's rhythm. Eating them at the right time, in moderation, turns this small food into a natural medicine for your heart and brain. And if you're watching this right now, take a moment to ask yourself, when do I usually eat my walnuts? If it's right after your morning pills, move it to the afternoon. If it's at night, skip it. These small changes can protect you from silent risks no medication label will ever warn you about. Because sometimes, health isn't about eating more or eating better, it's about knowing when your body truly needs something and when it needs to rest. If this video helps you, share it with someone you care about, because one small reminder today could prevent a much bigger problem tomorrow. In the previous video, we explored how eating walnuts at the wrong time, especially near medication, can quietly interfere with heart rhythm and reduce drug effectiveness. But that's not the only thing you should be careful about. There's another common mistake, one that causes many older adults to experience discomfort right in their stomachs. It's eating walnuts on an empty stomach or just before a main meal, a habit many believe is healthy. But for people over 60, it can have the opposite effect. I've met many patients with the same story. Doctor, I only had a few walnuts in the morning, but I felt bloated and nauseous all day. When I looked deeper, they all had one thing in common. They ate when their stomach was completely empty, thinking it would keep them full longer and prevent overeating. That logic may work for younger people with strong digestion, but not for older adults. As we age, our digestive system slows down, and the enzyme lipase, which breaks down fats, becomes less active. So when walnuts rich in fats and plant-based proteins enter an empty stomach, the body has to work hard to release bile and enzymes to process them. It's like forcing the stomach to go full speed when it's not even warmed up. What happens next? Many start feeling bloated, queasy, or experience heartburn, and some even mistake it for gastritis or acid reflux. One of my patients, a 72-year-old man from Nha Trang, told me, "Doctor, every time I eat walnuts in the morning, my throat burns and my stomach churns like I've eaten chili." After changing his routine, simply eating walnuts about an hour and a half after breakfast, his symptoms disappeared completely. The reason is clear. An empty stomach isn't ready to digest fats. The oils in walnuts temporarily lower stomach acidity, which in turn reduces the absorption of iron and calcium from the next meal. Imagine this. You eat 3 or 4 walnuts before lunch, feel slightly full, and end up eating less of your main meal. But that meal is when your body needs essential nutrients, iron for your blood, calcium for your bones, and protein for your muscles. When stomach acid drops, these nutrients aren't fully broken down or absorbed, even if your diet looks balanced. If this continues daily, it can lead to mild anemia, muscle fatigue, or gradual bone weakening, all without you realizing it. This mistake is easy to make. Many older adults worry about weight gain, so they eat nuts before meals to trick their hunger. But the body over 60 doesn't function like it did at 30. At this age, timing matters more than calories. Physiological changes, such as lower bile secretion and slower intestinal movement, mean digesting fats can take twice as long. So eating walnuts on an empty stomach is like asking your digestive system to do heavy labor before it's even awake. I recall a patient named Phuong, 65, who loved walnuts. Every morning, she ate 5 or 6 nuts with green tea, thinking, "It's good for my skin and slows aging." A few weeks later, she complained of heaviness, acid taste, and poor sleep. Nothing serious showed up in her tests. Her stomach was simply overloaded from processing fat too early in the day. When she switched to eating walnuts in mid-morning, about 90 minutes after breakfast, the symptoms disappeared. Now I feel better and I'm not afraid of eating nuts anymore, she said with a relieved smile. So the lesson is clear. Never eat walnuts on an empty stomach or right before a main meal. Even a few nuts can put pressure on the stomach and lower your body's nutrient absorption for the day. The simplest fix? Eat them 1 to 2 hours after a meal or between meals when your digestion is active and ready. If you really want to eat before a meal, pair them with a little natural fiber, a few apple slices, or a spoonful of Greek yogurt. That combination helps cushion your stomach and balance the oils in the nuts. And please remember, avoid eating walnuts early in the morning or right after waking up. At that moment, your body is still asleep. Digestive enzymes haven't started working, and the oils can irritate your stomach, causing mild nausea or a burning sensation. If you've ever felt uneasy after eating in the morning but didn't know why, this habit might be the reason. When we're young, our bodies adapt easily. But after 60, timing is just as important as quantity. It's not about eating more or eating earlier, it's about eating at the right time, when your body is truly ready. Let walnuts be a companion for your health, not a burden for your stomach. If you have ever felt uncomfortable after eating nuts on an empty stomach, leave a 1. Let's see how many people are like you. And now, after talking about eating walnuts at the wrong time, let's return to one of the most common and concerning habits among people over 70, eating too many walnuts at once. It sounds harmless, even healthy, but this habit quietly causes a range of digestive and metabolic issues that many don't recognize until it's too late. I vividly remember one of my patients, Mr. Robert, 70 years old, living in Seattle, Washington. He told me, "Doctor, I read online that walnuts are great for the heart and brain, so I eat almost half a cup every day." At first, he felt energetic and alert, but after a few weeks, he started experiencing bloating, loss of appetite, and difficulty sleeping. His test results were all normal. The problem wasn't illness, it was digestion. His body was struggling to process too much plant-based fat at once. After adjusting his portion size and spreading it throughout the day, the symptoms disappeared. Mr. Robert smiled in relief. "Now I still eat my nuts, just smarter, and I feel much better." The worrying part is that many others make the same mistake without realizing it. Just a small handful of walnuts, about 28 grams, contains 185 calories and 18 grams of fat, nearly 1/3 of the daily fat intake recommended for people over 60. Younger people can burn off that extra energy, but as we age, metabolism slows down, and those extra calories easily turn into visceral fat, leading to bloating and slower digestion. That's why many older adults eat clean and healthy, yet still gain weight or feel heavy. Many believe that because walnuts contain good fats, the more, the better. The truth is that every type of fat, even healthy fats, must be digested in moderation. After 70, the liver and gallbladder need more time to break down fats. When too much is consumed, the body must release more bile, putting pressure on the digestive system and leaving you feeling tired, nauseated, or mildly unwell. For those with fatty liver, diabetes, or high blood pressure, eating too many oily nuts can raise cholesterol levels or cause blood sugar fluctuations. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, the ideal serving for older adults is about 28 grams per day, roughly 7 walnut halves. It may seem small, but when eaten correctly, that modest amount provides the greatest benefit. The secret lies in portioning and pacing. Don't eat them all at once. Divide them into 2 or 3 portions, for example, 3 halves in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, and chew slowly so your body can absorb the nutrients properly. When combined with apple slices or Greek yogurt, the fiber and probiotics help ease digestion and stabilize blood sugar after meals. Even how fast you eat matters. Many older adults tend to eat quickly or swallow without chewing properly. But with oily nuts like walnuts, eating too fast can cause immediate bloating or discomfort. Simply sitting down, relaxing, and chewing thoroughly allows your brain to register fullness earlier, helping you eat less while still feeling satisfied. Another patient, Mrs. Miller, 66, once said, "I only eat healthy foods, but I keep gaining weight." When reviewing her eating habits, I discovered she often snacked on nuts while watching TV at night, unconsciously finishing half a bag without noticing. I suggested she divide her walnuts into 7 small containers, 1 for each day. A month later, she returned with a big smile. "I lost almost 4 pounds and I still eat nuts every day." That's the perfect example of how mindful moderation beats excess. After 70, your body no longer needs quick bursts of energy, but rather steady, gentle nourishment. A small daily dose of healthy fats from walnuts can help support memory, heart health, and reduce inflammation, but when overdone, the effects reverse. What once protected your heart can now tire your liver and strain your stomach. So remember, with walnuts, less is more. Eating the right amount, the right way, not only improves digestion, but also keeps your heart light, your mind sharp, and your sleep deeper. Don't let your belief in superfoods unknowingly become a burden on your body. If you've ever thought, the more, the better, or if you felt bloated after eating nuts, comment the number 1 below so I know you've been there too. Sometimes, one small change, eating less, spacing it out, and slowing down, is all it takes for your body to thank you every day. And coming up next, we'll explore a more subtle mistake not about how much you eat, but about the quality and storage of walnuts, something that can quietly take away all their benefits even if you eat them faithfully every day. Sometimes, the things we believe are helping our health can quietly be the ones holding us back. And when it comes to walnuts, one of the most overlooked mistakes among older adults isn't how much they eat, it's how they combine them with supplements or other foods. This might sound simple, but it's a detail that can make the difference between feeling truly energized or feeling tired and unwell without knowing why. I once met a patient named Evelyn, 68 years old, from Florida, a woman who seemed to do everything right for her health. Every morning she took her fish oil, ate a few walnuts, and followed up with iron and calcium supplements. Smiling proudly, she told me, "I thought this was the perfect combination. Doctor, good fats for the heart, iron for the blood, and calcium for the bones." But after a couple of months, she returned feeling weak, dizzy, and occasionally noticed bleeding gums. Her test results looked mostly normal, but the real issue was hidden beneath the surface. The combination of too much omega-3 and tannins from walnuts was quietly disrupting how her body absorbed nutrients. Evelyn's story is a perfect example of the third common mistake: eating right but combining wrong. Walnuts, fish oil, and salmon are all rich in omega-3 fatty acids, celebrated for their heart and brain benefits. However, when too many sources of omega-3 are consumed together, especially in adults over 70, the body's ability to regulate fats becomes strained. According to the U.S. National Institutes of Health, NIH, excess omega-3 intake can increase bleeding risk by up to 40%, particularly in those taking blood thinners or low-dose aspirin. I recall a 74-year-old man from California who suffered from frequent nosebleeds that wouldn't stop for 2 days. When I asked about his diet, he said, "I didn't do anything unusual, just took fish oil and ate nuts every morning." It turned out that his double dose of good fats had made his blood vessels fragile. Once he reduced his nut intake and paused his fish oil temporarily, the problem disappeared within a week. Sometimes the body doesn't need more, it needs just enough. Beyond omega-3, walnuts also contain tannins, the natural compounds responsible for that slight bitterness when you chew them. Tannins have anti-inflammatory properties, but they also block up to 60% of iron absorption when consumed together with iron supplements or iron-rich foods, like red meat, eggs, or leafy greens. This is especially problematic for older adults who are already prone to iron deficiency anemia. Many of my patients tell me they take iron pills regularly, but still feel fatigued, not because the supplement isn't working, but because they're unknowingly eating walnuts too close to the time they take their iron. As we age, our ability to absorb nutrients declines, so even small timing mistakes can make a big difference in how the body utilizes what we give it. The good news is the solution is surprisingly simple. If you're taking fish oil or blood-thinning medication, limit your walnut intake to 3 to 4 halves per day, enough to benefit your heart without overloading your system. And if you're taking iron supplements, make sure to avoid eating walnuts for at least 2 hours afterward so your body has time to fully absorb the iron before encountering the tannins. Think of your body as a finely tuned factory. Every nutrient has its own shift. When you make 2 shifts overlap, production doesn't speed up, it slows down, and errors occur. In older adults, whose digestion and metabolism are already more delicate, this scheduling becomes even more important. One simple routine I often recommend to my patients goes like this. Take your medications and supplements in the morning, eat balanced meals during the day, and enjoy your walnuts in the mid-afternoon. when your stomach has mostly digested lunch and your body could use a light, steady energy boost. At that time, digestion is smoother, omega-3 absorption is more efficient, and energy levels remain stable. On the other hand, eating nuts late at night should be avoided, as the oils in walnuts can keep your stomach working too hard and disturb your sleep. In truth, the issue isn't how much you eat, but how you combine and time what you eat. The human body, especially as it ages, doesn't need an excess of nutrients, it needs harmony. Don't let your healthy habits become a burden on your digestive system by thinking more is better. Sometimes, the key to longevity isn't about adding more, but about balancing wisely. If you take fish oil, iron, or multiple supplements every day, pause for a moment and ask yourself, am I giving my body enough time to absorb everything properly? Often, better health doesn't come from what we add, it comes from reducing what's unnecessary and aligning what's essential. And right after this, we'll move on to another even quieter mistake, not about how much you eat or when, but about how you store your walnuts, a factor that can silently erase all their health benefits in just a few months. When it comes to health, most people believe that as long as they eat properly and in moderation, everything will be fine. But sometimes the smallest habits can hide the biggest risks. And in our journey to understand the common mistakes people make with walnuts, it's time to talk about one of the most silent yet increasingly common issues, the fifth mistake: ignoring the risk of allergies and cross-contamination when consuming walnuts. Many people assume that food allergies are only a concern for children, but in reality, recent research shows the opposite. Older adults are now among the most vulnerable groups. I once met a patient named Linda, 72, from Texas. She told me she started eating walnuts every day because she had heard they were excellent for heart and brain health. For the first few weeks, she felt great, her energy improved, and her skin looked brighter. But soon after, she began to notice a slight itch in her throat, a few red spots on her wrists, and occasional stomach discomfort after eating. Thinking it was just seasonal allergies or indigestion, she kept eating them for months. Then, one morning, she experienced mild shortness of breath and had to be taken to the hospital. Doctors later confirmed that the cause was a walnut protein allergy, something she had never experienced before. Linda's case isn't rare. According to the Journal of Allergy and Clinical Immunology, JACI 2022, nut allergies in adults are increasing by an average of 12% every year, and walnuts are one of the top culprits. The danger lies in the fact that early symptoms often appear subtle, mild itching, light rashes, or slight indigestion, and are therefore easily ignored. But what many don't realize is that allergies can accumulate over time. Your body may react mildly today, but with repeated exposure, the immune system remembers and reacts more aggressively, potentially leading to anaphylaxis, a life-threatening allergic response, if not identified early. For older adults, allergic reactions are even trickier to recognize because symptoms can be mistaken for other conditions such as bloating, mild diarrhea, or skin irritation. Some assume they're just not digesting well, when in fact their bodies are sending warning signals. Moreover, as the immune system becomes less stable with age, even small dietary missteps can trigger abnormal reactions. That's why observation in patients are so important when introducing walnuts into a senior diet. Another hidden risk comes from cross-contamination when walnuts come into contact with other nuts during processing. Industry data shows that around 95% of nut processing facilities handle multiple varieties on the same equipment, including almonds, cashews, and peanuts. This means that even if you aren't allergic to walnuts, traces of other nut proteins may trigger a reaction. That's why reading food labels carefully is crucial. If you see a warning such as may contain traces of peanuts, almonds, or other tree nuts, don't ignore it. It's not a formality, it's a serious safety message that could protect your health. I always advise my older patients to start slowly and intentionally. During the first week, eat only 2 to 3 walnut halves per day and pay close attention to how your body responds to your mouth, digestion, skin, and breathing. If everything feels fine, you can gradually increase to 5 or 7 halves. But if you experience any unusual signs like itching, rashes, chest tightness, or stomach upset, stop immediately and consult your doctor. Allergies don't simply go away, they're often ignored until they become serious. A useful tip to lower your risk is to buy walnuts in shell and roast them yourself at home instead of purchasing prepackaged ones from the supermarket. Store them in airtight glass jars in the refrigerator to maintain freshness and reduce contamination risk. It's also wise to keep a small note of when you first began eating walnuts, since allergic reactions sometimes appear after several days or weeks. Tracking your intake makes it much easier to identify potential triggers. Many people dismiss allergies as minor inconveniences, but in reality, they're often early warnings that your body is changing. By the time we reach our 60 seconds or 70 seconds, the immune system isn't as quiet or predictable as it once was. It becomes more reactive, more sensitive to specific foods. Instead of feeling afraid, think of this as a message from your body, inviting you to understand it better and make wiser choices about what you consume. So the lesson here is simple yet powerful. Never ignore small signals from your body. Even a little itch or brief discomfort might be the body's way of saying something isn't right. And if you've ever experienced anything like this, comment the number 1 below to let me know you've been there so we can share our experiences and help each other live more safely and healthily. Up next, we'll move into the final part of this series, where I'll show you how to build a safe, sustainable walnut habit, one that nourishes your body, sharpens your mind, and supports your longevity for years to come. Many people ask me the same question. Doctor, I eat properly, small portions, all healthy foods, so why do I still feel bloated and uncomfortable? The answer often isn't in what you eat, but how you store it. And walnuts, those tiny, innocent-looking nuts, are one of the clearest examples. After talking about the mistake of mixing the wrong supplements, let's move to the 4th common mistake: buying and storing walnuts the wrong way. It sounds simple, but this small error can quietly cause digestive issues and even increase inflammation over time. I once had a patient in Florida named Martha, 68 years old. She told me, "I eat walnuts every morning for my memory, but lately I felt bloated, gassy, and tired. When she brought me her jar of nuts, I opened it and immediately smelled it. The nuts were rancid. A faint sourness, a bitter edge, a slightly burnt oil scent, all clear signs that the oils in the walnuts had oxidized. When this happens, the healthy fats inside turn into inflammatory compounds, forcing the digestive system to work harder and sometimes causing nausea or discomfort that people often blame on age." According to a 2020 study in the Journal of Food Chemistry, over 90% of bulk-packed walnuts in grocery stores turned rancid within 3 months. That's because walnuts are rich in omega-3 and polyunsaturated fats, PUFAs, which are extremely sensitive to heat, light, and oxygen. Just leaving the jar near your stove or a sunny window for a few weeks can cause oxidation even if the nuts still look fine. The real problem is that most people don't notice it. They mix walnuts into yogurt, oatmeal, or smoothies and assume the strange taste comes from the recipe, not from the nuts. But in reality, they're consuming damaged fats that can cause chronic low-grade inflammation, leading to fatigue, indigestion, higher LDL cholesterol, and even sleep disturbances. Fortunately, the fix is simple. Don't buy too much at once, no matter how tempting the sale may be. Buy only what you can finish within a month, and store them in airtight glass jars, never in plastic, which absorbs odors and heat. Keep them in the refrigerator, where they stay fresh for up to 2 months. For long-term storage, freeze them. They'll retain both flavor and nutrients for up to a year. Here's another tip. Lightly toast your walnuts for 5 minutes at low heat before eating. This enhances their natural aroma and reduces the risk of surface oxidation. And always trust your senses. Fresh walnuts should smell mild and slightly nutty, never sour or bitter. If they smell sharp, oily, or like old paint, it's time to let them go. Don't risk your health over a handful of spoiled nuts. After 60, our bodies don't handle these small mistakes as easily as before. The liver and digestive tract have to work twice as hard to filter out oxidized compounds. That's why proper storage isn't just about keeping the flavor, it's about protecting your body from hidden inflammation. When stored correctly, walnuts can truly deliver their promised benefits: sharper memory, better heart health, and calmer digestion. So, check your walnut jar today. Open it, take a whiff. If it smells even slightly off sour, bitter, or stale, toss it out. Your health is worth far more than a bag of nuts. And if you've ever opened your jar and thought, something smells strange, but I'll eat it anyway, comment the number 1 below. I bet you're not alone. So many people have made the same mistake without realizing it, and the good news is that a small change can make a huge difference. Up next, we'll talk about one of the most surprising and overlooked risks of all, how walnuts, despite their many benefits, can sometimes trigger hidden allergies and cross-contamination reactions. It's a topic that might surprise you, but it could also save you from a lot of discomfort, or even danger in the long run. What many people don't realize is that a single bad walnut can cost your body dearly. It may sound like an exaggeration, but the scary truth is, not all walnuts are created equal. Many pre-shredded, flavored, or cheaply bagged varieties are de-oiled, flavored with artificial flavors, and loaded with preservatives. According to the American Dietetic Association, these nuts contain up to 10 times the normal amount of salt, which can raise blood pressure and damage the kidneys. Remember, the quality of your nuts is the quality of your health. If this video makes you rethink your eating habits, please like and share it with a loved one who you want to be healthier every day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue accompanying me on the journey of discovering seemingly correct but surprising nutritional habits, where each small lesson can help you live healthier, more relaxed, and understand your body more deeply every day. Remember, small changes today can make a big difference to your health tomorrow. Thank you for accompanying and taking care of yourself with understanding.